Yes, and I was basically 2 days away from being 40 weeks pregnant, but my son was still not ready, and my body wasn't. Hey guys, welcome back to Let's Chat with your girl Marie. Yes, guys, so as I promised, I am going to be sharing what my experience, was like during my labor and delivery. Um, as I'm about to get into it, but before I do, all of the new viewers here, please to make sure you hit that subscribe button and you click on that notification bell so you're notified each time I post a video. I do not want you guys to miss out. You are my family, and I highly appreciate all of you on here already who have subscribed. Thank you guys so much. Keep up the support. Continue to share with your friends and your family. So yes, guys, as I mentioned in last week video, that my experience, my labor and delivery experience, it wasn't one of the best experience. And I know many of you, especially on those of you on my channel, mothers to be, you might hear from others who have been there and done that. Everybody experience is different, and you just won't know until it's your time what your experience is going to be like. So I've spoken with many persons and heard their views on their labor and delivery, and some of them had it easy. When I mean easy, guys, I mean like some persons were in labor for like 40 minutes, 45 minutes. It didn't take a long time for them to reach their 10 centimeter, for them to have their big push. And but for some persons, they said they had a hard time. They were in there for hours. When I said hours, I mean like some persons said they were in there for like 10 hours, 12 hours, whatever that is. Majority of the persons I spoke with about their labor and delivery experience, when they told me their stories about it, and when I compare it to mine, it is totally not the same, guys. So your experience is never going to be the same as what others tell you that their experience is like, because you all know, and you all should know and accept that everybody experience in life is different. As Jamaicans, we always hear puss and dog don't have the same luck, and that is true. Puss and dog don't have the same luck, and my chapter one is not your chapter one. My life story is not your life story. You know, my testimony is just not your testimony. That's just me trying to use different ways of putting it across, that your experience, your labor and delivery experience, is never going to be like somebody else's experience. Your labor and delivery experience is going to be your experience, your story. Just to know, share with you guys what my labor and delivery experience was like. So guys, I went into labor on the 28th of January, and of course you're gonna check into the hospital and everything, and they're gonna do your pressure and all of those stuff. And a few moments later, because guys, I wasn't at any centimeter. I wasn't ready. My son wasn't ready, and we were a day away from him being 2 days away from being 40 weeks pregnant, but my son was still not ready, and my body wasn't showing any signs that I was ready. Yes, for those of you who need to know, there, when you go, if you even research it, you don't have to even receive this information when you go to the doctor. You can research it yourselves. There are going to be different signs to show that you are going into labor, and some of them is frequent urination, some of them is pelvic pain, um, discharge, a certain color discharge, and those kind of stuff, cramps, frequent cramps. So yes, I had none of those. As I said, my body wasn't ready, and my son was just too comfortable. My son wasn't ready to face the world as yet. So when I went to, so on the 28th I had a visit to the clinic. So I went in for my checkup, and the nurse, you know, asked me if I'm experiencing any of the signs, and I said no. And she was like, really? And I said, yes, I'm not experiencing any of the signs to say that I'm going into labor. And so she went ahead and she do her check and whatever, and she was like, okay, my blood pressure was a little high, and the 2 weeks it was a week before that when I also went for my checkup, it was also high, but they said maybe it will go down. But when I went on the 28th, it was also high. So they said that they're gonna send me in to be induced, because one of the things many of us don't know as mothers to be as well, what is the term that they call it again? Preeclampsia. You guys can look it up, right? I think it's preeclampsia, right? So when they realize that I have not gonna delay with me any further, from they realized that I had 2 readings of high blood pressure. So of course the nurse wrote up what she needed to wrote up for me to go over to the hospital, and I went. So I was checked in on the 28th, and on the 29th when I went in on the 28th, they did their IV and everything and test my blood pressure. They had this monitor attached to me that did readings of my blood pressure I think it was every 25 minutes or every half hour. So they were constantly monitoring my blood pressure. Of course, I did collection of urine because they wanted to test to see if I had preeclampsia. And the urine test came back, guys, that I had no signs of protein in my urine. So, and that's one of also the signs that they look for if you have preeclampsia. If you have protein in your urine, then something is wrong. So they didn't find any trace of protein in my urine. So I was there, and they decided that okay, they're gonna see if I'm dilating. They did their check, which is a vaginal check. So they did their check, guys, and I wasn't dilating either. Well, the first time they checked, it wasn't, but when they went back and checked again, I was at 1 centimeter, and that was after some hours after they did that check, and I was out. So they monitored me after they did that. I think I went to 2 centimeters after that, 2 or 3 centimeters, which wasn't bad because they realized I was improving, and that was on the 29th, I think. And on the 30th, they wanted to make sure that I was dilating as soon as possible, because the dilation wasn't really coming through as fast as they expected it to. So they had to give me they gave me a second method of induction. I am not recalling, guys, all the names of the methods that they gave me, but I counted each method, so I know how many they did. So with that one, it was a liquid I forgot the name. It was a liquid that they placed inside my IV, and that was to push on the induction, to make the induction go faster. They decided on doing a third method of induction, and that was the same vaginal. They had to insert it through my vagina. Of course, they wanted me to dilate faster. When they did that one, I moved up to 5 centimeters. And when I was at the 5 centimeters, and that was like at the same 12 hours after, so that was on the 30th, and I was at 5 centimeters, and they realized it's okay, it's 3 methods of induction, and I'm not really getting anywhere. And guys, you can just imagine being in the basically being in the hospital for 2.5 days basically, because I was in from the evening on the 28th, right? And you're in labor for so long, and you're not getting anywhere immediately to see why the baby head wasn't coming down. And in that space of time, I think I went up to 6 centimeters, and they checked again that same day on the 30th, and the baby head was still not coming down where they expected it to be for the 6 centimeters. So there must be a reason why the baby head is not coming down. So when they did the ultrasound, of course they were trying to find out the weight of the baby, because that is one of the most reason why they would assume that the baby is not able to fit down in my birth canal, must be the size of the baby. So of course when they did the ultrasound, my son weight was 8 pounds. That's what it was showing on the ultrasound, and they realized immediately that's why the baby is not fitting down in my birth canal, because my baby is too big. I know many of you must be wondering, but why they wait so long for them to do an ultrasound? From they see that I'm not dilating as fast as I should, or the baby is not coming down from the 5 centimeter. Why they didn't just went along, or why didn't they do an ultrasound from the beginning, or measure my cervix basically and see the size of the baby? But I understand that it was due to the fact that it was my first child. They wanted to ensure that it was impossible for me to have natural birth. So they exhausted all the methods of induction that they got, which was 3 methods of induction. And on the 30th, on the 31st, because when they finalized that, it was basically around 5 o'clock in the morning or 6 o'clock in the morning. They realized that the baby was 8 pounds, and I wasn't able to have natural birth. So they came to my room and everything and explained that to me. And of course, I had to agree to do the C-section. And yes, guys, on the 31st of January, I gave birth to my son around 1 p.m. And that was the experience for me. And as I said, guys, I was in labor for over 72 hours. I was in labor for over 72 hours, and that's something I never thought I would be able to manage. Mommy and baby, we're going to... Words is not even enough to express my gratitude to God for what He has done for me and the many things He has brought me through. For mothers to be just going there with an open mind, going there with God, going there with your trust at its peak, going there with a calm state of mind as well. Don't go in your labor and delivery room. I know it's hard to not go in there nervous and scared, especially new mothers like myself. It's very hard not to. But try to go in there as calm as you can. As calm as you can. And while you're in there, try to think about things that relax your mind. And continue to tell yourself when you're in there as well that you're going to come out okay, and you're gonna have your healthy baby and everything is gonna be fine, because that's what I said throughout. Because from the minute you hear your baby cry, all that you have went through, you will not even remember. From the minute you hear your baby cry, trust me, it is such a wonderful feeling. It's the best feeling you can ever experience. So thank you guys so much for tuning in with me today. And take care, and see you guys next time when we chat here on Let's Chat.